My friend Melissa McGill is back on the podcast, this time fresh off of her own night at Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. And we're treating this episode a little bit differently than past episodes where we've talked exclusively about Halloween in Disney World, because this is kind of a companion to the laid back guide to Mickey's Not So Scary that we built together. So there's less of here's everything you need to know or like what the party is and the basics, and kind of more of like a mini trip recap, but a party version. So this is actually what happened when she went in 2026 and the changes of this year versus last year. Because maybe you've gone to the party in the past and now you have tickets coming up this year and you want to know what is different, where to see certain people, where to find specific things, how the lines are, just things conducive to how they make this year's party season feel. Without further ado, help me welcome Melissa back to the podcast. Hello, and welcome to the Laid Back Magic Way podcast. I'm your host, Dana Stanley, creator of Laid Back Magic. As a mom of 3, I know how tough it can be to find time to plan a Disney World trip that doesn't leave you feeling stressed or overwhelmed. That's why I'm here, to help moms like you create Disney vacations that feel even better than they look on paper. Here, we're not chasing perfection, but creating our next favorite memories. So whether you're brand new to Disney or looking to go deeper into the details, this podcast is your go-to for simple tips, mindset shifts, real-life trip recaps, and expert insights to make your trip magical and manageable. New episodes drop every Monday, so be sure to subscribe so you never miss a moment. Okay, let's dive in. Hi, Melissa, and welcome back, double welcome back to the Laid Back Magic Way podcast. I'm excited to chat with you because you just got back from Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. I know you ended up going a couple days later than you anticipated, but you got to go, and hopefully it didn't rain, because I know that's happened to you in past years too with the special parties. And I wanted to link the episode that we already had together about the Halloween party and things to know if you're thinking about the Halloween party. But this time I wanted to talk to you about 2026 specifically versus maybe last year and things that you experienced yesterday that we just want people to know about. I know we've been working together on the Halloween party guide. So this is kind of the partner to that of just a little mini trip recap of sorts just for the party. So to jump right in, I'm curious just like the context of your family going to this Halloween party, what you did for the, like before going into the party at Magic Kingdom, what your goals were, and like where you're staying. I know where you're staying because I can see it because we're still recording while you're in Disney World. But can you just tell us a little bit of backstory and context about this year?
Yeah, of course. Thank you again for having me. Always fun chatting, of course. So we are currently staying at Riviera, but yesterday when we went to the party, if you're listening later, I guess it was August 14th. We were supposed to go on August 11th, which was the second party, but I actually had gotten ill, so we were able to move our tickets to 14th, which was great.
Which I'm so glad.
Yeah, I was very happy. I mean, they did offer, I will say the cast members were fantastic. They offered multiple party dates. They offered a refund, so it was great. So know that there are options if you do have something come up. But it completely shifted our plans because on the 14th, when we went, was our resort switch day. We had just spent a week at Saratoga Springs. We were switching to Riviera, so it was kind of in limbo. So normally I would say keep it really easy before the party, eat a meal before the party. And I did not listen to any of my own advice.
Yeah.
Just because
we never do.
No, we don't. Yeah. But I have in the past and it's worked out. But because we moved, of course, there was that flux. We had originally made plans. We had extended family here. So we swam at Saratoga. for a few hours. Then our room still wasn't ready, so we went over to Disney Springs since we were right there, spent some time there, and then finally had our room ready. I want to say a little after 4, maybe like 4:20, something like that. And we knew going into it, it's been very hot here this week and last week. There's some kind of crazy heat dome. So
oh, that's nice to hear.
I know, right?
A heat dome.
It's like, it's already hot here, but we've had heat indexes of like 108, 112. So the day that we were supposed to go was 112, and we weren't even in the park for like an hour, and I just went down. I thought I was going to pass out.
Yeah.
So that's why we didn't go to the party.
Yeah.
So going in the summer, stay hydrated. That's my number one tip. But, so we knew we were going later because we didn't want that to happen again, right? To anybody, not even just me, anyone in the party. And the party we were going with, we're traveling with, there's 8 of us. It's my family. So my husband and I and our 2 kids, we have a 14 and 12-year-old. And then my friend's family, her husband, sister-in-law, and her 10-year-old. So we do have older kids. So we knew, okay, we could probably stay out later. So we did pretty much West Riviera around 6:30 to get to the park at 7 p.m. Which again is not typically what I recommend either. Usually with the party, you could get in at 4. So I usually say if you can get in earlier, if you have an annual pass or a park ticket, get in early. On Tuesday, when we tried to go, that's what we did. We got to the park around 2:30. We wanted to skip like the long line at entrance. So we had eaten, went to the park. We're going to enjoy some lightning lanes that we had set up and then stay for the party. And that didn't happen. But ideally, that's usually what I like to do.
On the plus side, how was the line getting in and checking in at 6:30-ish versus like if you went at 4?
Yeah, it was non-existent. There was no line. We walked right in.
Amazing.
Yeah, so that is the kind of trade-off there. When we did enter, it had looked really kind of cloudy and dark. It had rained a little bit before, so luckily it didn't rain during the party. But it did rain beforehand, so it all kind of worked out. But getting in at 7, like we were outside and we heard the announcement of that the party was starting, which was totally fine. But knowing that like we hadn't eaten, well, not that we hadn't eaten, we had eaten lunch, but now it was 7 o'clock. So we were kind of hungry already.
Right, because you were changing rooms and stuff, so you were wandering. Right. It is a weird feeling when you're switching rooms if no one's done it before. You do feel like genuinely homeless because you don't have that
nowhere to go.
Home base, especially like for a party too. Like you want to get in your outfit, like your ears and like you had little stars and stuff were super cute. Did you have a priority? I know that you did, but what were your intentions going into the party? Like what did you know that you wanted to focus on with the people that you were with?
Yeah, we definitely, so it's kind of hard because for me, I always want to do all the Halloween activities. So we knew the parade was 100% top priority. We wanted to do the early one. We have had, even though my kids are now older, but we have had issues in the past where like our sons got tired. So he wanted to leave and we tried to do 11:15 and then my husband had to leave with him and I stayed. So anyhow, we wanted to avoid some of that. So we did purposely try to go to the early parade. I knew the kids wanted to do rides because we had lost one of our Magic Kingdom days. They wanted to do more rides.
They're
so
antsy.
That shifted. Yeah, so that shifted a little bit. But I did want to try and see a lot of this year there's a lot of Haunted Mansion stuff, so I wanted to see all of that. And knowing that going in, that was for sure a priority. We don't typically prioritize character meets just because the waits are so long. I tried to meet on the way out, Jack and Sally. I thought, it's like 11:45. Maybe it'll be short. And it was still in it.
It does seem like it's better though, right? Wasn't it worse?
Yes.
Because I was checking, they have that on Thrill Data. And I was like, like average an hour isn't, I mean, the parties have just started, so we'll see. But I know people started lining up. It was like 4 hours.
Yes. It's usually a good I would say anywhere between 2 and 4 hours to meet them.
Wow.
So an hour isn't bad, but at 11:45 at night, I was like, no.
Yeah.
Not doing it.
I'm surprised that it was that long, that late.
Yeah, it was. So I would say Halloween activities, but not so much things because if you're waiting in line, it takes up so much time, right? So we were definitely prioritizing the parade, some rides, and then like some of the ongoing activities like Stitch's Masquerade or the Pirate Band, things like that.
And those were new this year versus last year.
Yes.
I wanted to touch and like ask you if someone went last year and loved it, what are some things that you really liked or maybe didn't like this year versus last year that you would want someone to know going into it? Like, hey, just so you know, this is different.
Yeah, there was a lot of new entertainment. So last year and possibly the year before, I think the best 2 years, what they call the bypass entrance. So when you walk into the park and you enter, you have to bypass and you go around Main Street. You get your treat bags, you get your map, and you usually go through a treat station. So there were two interesting changes here. One, it was all Haunted Mansion themes, which I absolutely loved. I actually got to interact with the butler and he asked me if I wanted to be Thousand Haunt and all that. I actually posted a reel about it today. Super
fun.
Yeah, it was a fun experience. There's usually either Carlotta, who's one of the ghosts, will be there, or a maid will be there. So they switch out the characters. Usually there's two, but he was only there, I think, probably because it was later. There wasn't as many people coming in. And then usually you exit out and you go right out into sort of the castle hub, but they directed us towards Tomorrowland Terrace. And I'm not sure if that's always, or if it was just because it had rained.
Okay.
So
why do they have you bypass Main Street, getting ready for the parade?
Entering. So when you first scan in with your ticket, you will go behind Main Street to avoid Main Street so that you can collect your things. At entry, you'll get your bracelet. And then they have like a big truck set up with the sign, and you've likely seen pictures.
And it says this way.
And they have you. Yeah. And then they have you go behind. They do the same thing with the Christmas party. So they'll have like balloons. They're like big.
Like inflatable.
Set up. Yeah. And it says like, welcome to Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party.
Got it.
Get all of your things. And then you'll go through your first trick-or-treat location. But the trick-or-treat location was on Tomorrowland Terrace. So where they do the dessert parties. So they had you funnel that way and it was very hectic. It looked like a big old traffic jam. So
yeah, because that's like pretty tight in there when you're going up like that ramp.
It is. But I am not sure if that was just because it rained earlier or if that's what they have people doing. And then you came out on the Tomorrowland Bridge.
Okay. Probably because it rained, I would assume. Did it seem like, so there's trick or treat trails, and I'm assuming the ones with characters get like more interaction and people, because people are like slowing down and they want to see that. Did you have a chance to do any of those or all of those?
Yep. So I did so in Diamond Horseshoe, they had the Hitchhiking Ghosts, which was super fun. So I made sure to go to that one. I caught it where the line was pretty short and moving.
Oh,
but
great.
Then after I exited getting the treat location and seeing the ghosts, the line was back to Liberty Square, almost to Haunted Mansion. So it was
because that's
crazy.
New too, right?
That is new. My understanding is they've done it in the past, like pre-COVID, like years ago. And so they brought that back. And then they also had other characters in other locations. So in Fairy Tale Hall, they had the villains there again. The line was very long there, so I did not get to go in. And then usually in Philharmonic, they also have either like Donald and Daisy, Chip and Dale, like it varies who they have there. But they also have characters in there, but those do tend to back up. And this year particularly, all of the treat lines, even the ones without characters, seemed very long. That was
interesting. I wonder why.
I guess people just like the idea of trick-or-treating, right? Like free candy.
Yeah.
They do tend to, usually later on in the night, the lines go down, but there was only one or two that I saw that you could go right in. There was one by Big Thunder, for example, in between, I guess, like Big Thunder and Tiana's. And the line was up past Tiana's. Just to get trick candy.
Was the candy different?
No. I have some here. See, no.
Generate this.
Have it already.
Show me. Show me the candy.
I mean, it's like mostly minis.
Yeah, okay.
So, yeah, no, same candy.
Yeah, I thought maybe if it was like something different or special, but I know I've heard that it doesn't matter what day of the week the party is, like they're just going to sell out the party and it's as many people as they can fit kind of thing. Do you agree with that? Or does it seem like maybe it could have been a little busier because it was a Friday, or no?
I do agree with that. However, it seemed busier to me than my past experiences. So I don't know if they sold more tickets. I will say when they moved our tickets from Tuesday to Friday, it was technically sold out. So we were extra people, right? So I don't know.
You were the 1,000th haunt. They squeezed you in. They're like, we can fit one more.
Yeah, they totally squeezed us in. So
that could be why
that happened. Yeah, it was crowded. For sure.
Okay.
It was heavier crowds than I was used to, especially in specific areas like where the parade route was. Tomorrowland seemed pretty empty because nothing really happens over there other than the Stitches Masquerade and Space Mountain had gone down. So I was also there later in the evening, right before the second parade. So that just could have been like a crowd flow situation. But we spent a lot of time in Adventure in Frontierland because we watched the parade from Frontierland. That's
so were you able to watch the first parade, I'm assuming?
Yes.
And in Frontierland, which, I like I know like down Main Street is like a really good view, like the long stretch, but for the Halloween parade, I think it looks really cool in Frontierland.
It does.
Versus like it fits more.
Yeah.
And it's like the opposite of like, it's the opposite of like the Starlight Parade looks really good with the castle behind it and all the lights, but I like the spooky, darker version over in Frontierland. Did you feel like good about what time you got there? Did you get a good view? Did it feel more crowded?
So people definitely seem to line up sooner. I noticed that this year. In past years, we've gotten the front row, like not even 15, 20 minutes, maybe 30 at most. We've gone now. This is like our 5th or 6th time. So I would say people lined up earlier. We were like the second row of people on the line. So we did still see everything, which was fine. And we like to go actually in front of the Diamond Horseshoe because it's less people that you can fit. It did seem a little cramped though because of the construction. Because the other side of across from Diamond Horseshoe on the river side, which is now closed, it was only
can't fit as many people.
There was only like 2 rows deep. So I do think that kind of caused a bit of a cluster in Frontierland where Main Street.
That's a good thing to remember because I didn't even think of that versus last year. I don't think those walls were up yet,
they weren't.
Right? Yeah.
Or if they weren't.
It's kind of encroaching that path that people can line up for the parade. So, because we recommend that the Frontierland is just a good spot because the parade starts there.
It does. Same as.
Yeah. So then you're getting like, you can be done first.
Exactly.
Versus the people like waiting at the end of Main Street. Like you can already head to more rides and things like that after the first parade.
Typically, if you're on Main Street, you definitely need at least 30 to 40 minutes to get a good spot. Sometimes even an hour. Like there were people already, when we entered, there were people already lined up for the parade at 7 p.m. for 8:15. So just that gives you a perspective for Main Street. And we started like pretty much went to Adventureland to do Pirates. We did catch the pirate band with Jack Sparrow, which is also new. Meaning the pirate band has always been there, but Jack Sparrow joined the band. So that was fun. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, it's already almost, I want to say it was like 10 to 8. I'm like, we have to get a spot. And we had to walk all the way from there. So like the beginning of Frontierland all the way to Diamond Horseshoe, even to find second row. Everything was taken.
Oh, okay. So you actually went further than what you even thought.
Yeah.
So like Main Street, you're talking at least an hour ahead of time. And then Frontierland, 30 to 45 minutes.
Based on our experience last night, I would say at least 30 minutes.
To be safe, if that's a priority for you.
If it's a priority and we really did want front row because I do like to get you get character interactions and things like that. But we were able to see that wasn't an issue and we still had a great time. Love that parade.
And now coming from Diamond Horseshoe and the parade ends, where did you go from there?
So ironically, because we wanted to do the rides in Frontierland, we went back into Frontierland. We were all hungry, so we ate at Pecos Bills. They had some party exclusive items. And so we went that way. And then we also went right into Diamond Horseshoe to do the trick or treat trail, but not thinking the Hitchhiking Ghosts weren't in there because they were in the parade.
Oh,
yeah.
I wouldn't have even, I wouldn't have even thought of that.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's something to keep in mind. I was curious, like what you did right after and if it worked out that way. Did you mobile order Pecos Bill?
We did. So we started as we were kind of finishing up. We mobile ordered as we were walking.
Perfect.
And we got in there, got a table before the rush because by the time we got our food, which did take a bit of time even with the mobile order, the line was out the door. So it did work out good in that way.
And you could have scheduled that too.
We could have, and we didn't because we didn't think ahead, but we definitely could have.
No, that wasn't a dig.
Right.
But I was thinking that is something to keep in mind. Like if you're down that way and a lot of people haven't eaten either. They're probably thinking the same thing. Maybe they're a little further down than you, and that's why you kind of miss that rush. I'm curious how, because you said you were a little bit more focused on the rides because your kids were kind of itching.
Yeah.
What was pretty much everything a low wait? What was like the longest you waited for?
I would say the longest wait, most things were walk on, which was great. I would say 10 minutes for Peter Pan was our longest wait. We didn't do Mine Train or Tron, so like those I would imagine would be longer. But usually they're only around 30 minutes, which is still great considering the regular waits are over an hour.
Mm-hmm.
But we walked on, well, some of our group walked on pretty much. We walked on Pirates. They pretty much walked on Tiana's, although it did stop. So they turned around left. We went on Big Thunder. And that was pretty much walk on. And then they went back because Tiana's was back up. They went back on to try and do Tiana's and they did. But you know how that just takes a while. So,
I know.
And then I left everybody and went to go see the Hitchhiking Ghosts.
Good for you. Like, see ya. Did you get a chance to get on Haunted Mansion?
Of course. We did. And that one, I feel like the line always seems to be crazy long, but we got on it pretty quickly because so many people fit in the room. Like the line and the queue is cut now because of the construction. So the line was all the way back past the market, but we walked pretty much right on.
Great. I'm glad you were able to get on. I'm always curious, or I shouldn't say curious, but whenever I look at the wait times for the party, some years Haunted Mansion, it's like Haunted Mansion, the lines get crazy during party season, like Halloween party season, but not necessarily during the party, if that makes sense. Like people just prioritize it in October when they're there for their Magic Kingdom Day, but not necessarily at the party, which is funny to me.
Yeah, and I will say, I mean, I definitely think it's kind of a mixed bag. This year, one change was they had Carlotta, who was one of the ghosts, in the queue. And she was also greeting people at Tomorrowland Terrace during the trick or treat. But they usually have more of the characters outside the mansion or in the queue. And they didn't this year. Simply because of the construction, which is why I think they themed the bypass as Haunted Mansion. To
give people that Haunted Mansion itch without crowding the area and wanting to get like pictures and everything like that.
Yeah. I mean, even this year, like, not that everyone can see this, but I'm going to show Dana because we're on camera, even though we won't be on the podcast. But like Mickey, Donald, and Goofy as the Hitchhiking Ghosts, the bag Hitchhiking Ghosts. So I think that was just really the theme this year, and I'm hoping it continues because it was really fun.
They did it for you.
They did. They knew.
They were like, Melissa would really like this. We're going to do it.
We're going to do it.
You ate at Pecos Bills. Were you able to get any snacks, like party snacks?
We did. So we got 2 of them. The other 2 things we got were just off the regular menu. I got the Cursed Cowboy fries. They were sweet potato fries with brisket burnt ends, queso sauce, and like loaded stuff. It was delicious. I really liked it.
Where was that from?
That was from Pecos.
Oh, yum. Yeah, that sounds good.
And then those were really good. And then they actually had little mini pumpkin churros that were delicious, and they came with a cream cheese dipping sauce. And usually Disney World is not known for their churros, but these were pretty good. I think because they were minis, they were nice and crispy on the outside, fluffy on the inside. So I enjoyed
that.
Those.
Sounds good.
Yeah. And then they had a guava lemonade slushie, I believe it was. Not so great.
Not good. You can skip that.
Yeah, skip it. It was very sweet.
Pecos Bills I like it there. I don't know why.
Yeah,
it's very surprising. We ended up eating there I obviously wasn't party specific, but we ended up there like 3 times on our last trip, kind of by accident. But Story really likes the corn mousse that weirdly looks like corn. Like it looks too much like a cob of corn, but it's light, fluffy, like white chocolate raspberry mousse. And she asked for it every time. Like, do they still have that? So we ended up going in just to get the mousse. So nice. I don't know. I feel like their food is like always a little bit surprisingly good. Closing out the night of your Halloween party, where did you end up watching the fireworks?
So because we spent so much time in Frontierland, we actually watched from there. And unintentionally, I actually completely lost track of time after the parade and eating. I looked, I'm like, why is there fireworks going off? Oh, right. It's the fireworks.
Oh,
Yeah, so we watched from there. That was when part of our crew was on Tiana's. And then from there, we did kind of went back to Liberty Square and Fantasyland. That's when we did Haunted Mansion and Peter Pan. And then half the party left. It was close to 11 at that point. And I actually went solo for a little bit and we went over to Tomorrowland. That was fun. But People Mover, I was hoping to get more treats. I wanted to try the Hades cake pop that they have at the launching pad. But it seemed as though at that point, between 11:15, 11:30, all the food shut down, which was kind of a bummer.
okay.
I didn't actually realize that, even though I've been to parties many times, that I just assumed they were serving until midnight, and they were not.
But that's normal. You just didn't notice, you think?
I'm not entirely sure. It must be normal, but it was not anything I realized. So
These things happen to me every trip
mhm.
where I don't want to say I forget, but it's almost like you assume.
Yeah.
You just assume something. Like I will assume that we can grab something maybe a little earlier, like early entry. Or if it's early entry, like this will be open or the shops will be open. And it's like, no, actually it's not. It's open like at a certain time. Yeah. As far as like timing goes, how did it feel this year? And what would you do differently?
Well, I would follow the advice that I always give first and foremost, but it felt like it went by so quickly. I think because we got there so late, it just, before I knew it, like we entered at 7, it was 8 o'clock, time for the parade. Okay. Then, oh my gosh, why is fireworks going off? Oh, because it's 10 p.m. It just flew by. Yeah. And then before we knew it.
And you hadn't eaten, which I know takes a lot of time to like sit down and get everyone to eat.
Yeah, it did. So I just think we made a lot of decisions based on what had happened earlier in the week. So it made sense for us in the moment, but typically what we did, I would not entirely recommend. But it just went by so fast. And I know I always say that, and having a plan does help. But I do feel like you also need to kind of keep in the back of your mind, okay, if I miss this, is that okay? Like ask yourself those questions, because we made those decisions on the fly. Like we knew we didn't want to miss the parade, so we prioritized that. But I was okay missing the fireworks up close. We're not big fireworks people. Mm-hmm. So, just making those decisions. I knew I didn't want to miss the Hitchhiking Ghosts. So I left my party to make sure I went and saw it, because nobody else necessarily cared about it, but it was important to me. So, to making those.
How soon did they go back after the Hitchhiking Ghosts? Like the parade went through and then they just went right back?
They must have. I mean, it was odd because they were completely gone. So it had to have been the same actors. I can't imagine that they had 2 sets of ghosts. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe
like they took a break. I don't know.
It's possible. It was completely empty. Like it wasn't like, oh, they're taking a break. They didn't say anything. So I just assumed that it was the same ghosts in the parade and working there or performing there. And I was maybe, that was 8:30, maybe like an hour later, I went back because we had went to Eaton, went to the rides, and then I came back through and they were there. And I'm like, I don't want to get too close to the 11:15 parade and then them not be there.
Yeah.
So
you didn't watch the second one, right?
Mm-mm.
But you were in the park.
Yes.
You were there solo at 11:15, but you didn't watch the parade. Were you like on your way out?
So I was solo from like Fantasyland into Tomorrowland. I wanted to see if I can catch the Stitches Masquerade, which I did for like a brief few minutes. I wanted to shop, and I knew Star Traders would be empty. So I went that way instead of the Emporium. I did try the Emporium. It was a madhouse. I left. And then I wanted to ride the People Mover. So I did kind of those things. And then, of course, I thought I could get the Hades cake pop that I mentioned, but it was done already. So I did those things and then went out. So I would say I was probably exiting at 11:45, which was not a good idea.
Yeah, what was that like getting back? Right. How was that getting back to, did you take the bus? Did you minivan?
Took the bus. Luckily, the bus was waiting when I got there, so that worked out okay. But just exiting Magic Kingdom, everyone was exiting. Ideally, if you're there that late, it would make sense to kind of just stay where you are until about midnight and then make your way out, whether it be on a ride. But I was by myself, so we were already tired. my family had already left. So I was just like, whatever, it's
Yeah.
just me. I'm like bobbing and weaving like I do in streets of New York to get out.
Yeah. Well, you can like dodge and
Right.
weave. Yeah.
So, but it was a complete mess. It was just people filling Main Street.
Yeah, I would
So
say
that was rough.
to either leave at like 11 or 12 and nothing in the middle.
Yes.
This
Yes, correct.
This past trip, we did the dessert party like we always do, but we're usually in a rush to get back because it's just so late. We've been going in the summers, which I don't know why we do that, but the fireworks start so late and they end so late, and then crew has been little. And this was the first trip that we kind of just let everybody go. Like even from the actual Plaza Garden, we just let everyone kind of filter out, and we just like hung out. Like, why are we even in a rush? So I do think it depends on like where you're staying too.
Yeah.
I felt differently staying on the monorail. I feel like it matters a little bit less if you're not taking a bus. But the difference between maybe like 45 minutes, like we just went into Tomorrowland, kind of like what you did, which I like it over there late at night because it's not super hectic.
I did too.
And because Main Street is just, yeah, that's when people like want to shop even on a normal night. And we went to that same gift shop and I got a last minute lightning lane for Colton for Space Mountain, which was like a little surprise for him because he didn't think that he was going to be able to ride it. But just leaving, I want to say the fireworks ended at like maybe 9:20. No, it was 10:20 because it started at 10, ended at 10:20. Instead of rushing out, we left at 11. And it was such a huge difference. I was like, why don't we just do this every time? Now that crew's a little older, I think we're going to just maybe ride like one ride, get a snack, use the bathroom, and then head out. It's like a lot more chill. But I know it's hard when you have like babies and toddlers and things. Did you see anybody? Did you like, this is terrible to say. I don't mean this in like a malicious, eavesdroppy, judgmental way. But did you see anything happen where you were like, oh no, they don't know XYZ, or I wish those people knew that, or maybe they should have done that, or any meltdowns or anything? Or was everybody kind of vibing?
Yeah, I think everybody was kind of vibing. I did see people trying to get last minute spots for the parade, and I was like, ooh, that's not going to happen. And then they try and squeeze their way in, so that's always a challenge. And then just getting on the trick-or-treat lines, like obviously if it's a priority, do it. But you can get stuck in there for quite a bit of time. You would think that they continually move, but they don't. They just don't always.
Can you
So
like pop out if you regret it, or are you kind of like stuck?
I mean, I guess you can. It really depends on the treat, like, because a lot of them go
Right,
through
so you
stuff,
don't,
right?
yeah.
Like, you kind of can't. You kind of have to go with the flow. But if you were in the line, so like the entrance might be several feet up, you could probably get out quickly. But like, there's one that goes through Monsters Inc. left 4.
Yeah.
You can't get out of there, right? Same thing with Philharmonic. You're going through the line cube, so once you enter, you're kind of stuck. Yeah, so I would say most of them you can't really.
Is there like an area, like if you wanted to focus on trick-or-treating, but you weren't necessarily in a rush to like go to the first one, is there like an area or trail that seems mostly pretty chill? Or maybe it's like bigger, so it feels more chill?
Yeah, usually the Tomorrowland locations tend to be a little bit better. The one particularly at Tron, there's one, you know that pathway from Fantasyland or Storybook Circus to Tomorrowland? They have trick-or-treating over there, and that one.
That makes sense because people probably don't even
that's always
really realize that trail is there.
Yeah.
All right. That's good to know.
Yeah.
If you had one piece of advice for like 2026 specifically, if someone was going to the Halloween party, what would you say?
Oh my gosh, don't do anything I didn't know. I really just think it always comes down to knowing what's important and focusing on that. If you love Haunted Mansion, definitely prioritize all of those characters. They're just so fun. I would have honestly went through that bypass multiple times. I would have just kept.
That's really cool.
It was just so fun. So just knowing those kinds of things, like for me, it was just filled me with a spooky heart.
Well, and we added a planner this year to the Mickey's Not So Scary guide for that reason. I feel like it was kind of we needed something visually to, I know I need something visually of like, I want to do this. And if I have time for XYZ, then we'll do this. Because it's hard to keep track. Like if there is a snack, like even you, for instance, if this is going to sound like a dig, but if you had looked up, I forget where the cake pop is from, but if you had looked up the shop of where it was or the quick service, you could see maybe the hours for that day. I'm assuming, right? It would have showed in the app.
I would assume it just seemed like, again, I would have just expected it to be open and for the full party, but it was fine.
Just know to prioritize that too. Like if that is something that you want, get it on the earlier side, or something like the Stitch and Pirates like shows. Were they all the way to midnight, or is it like, oh, good?
Yeah, those were still going on because when after 11, when I went off to Tomorrowland, I did catch Stitch for a little bit. Him and Angel were out there. They were dancing. It was super fun. That was cute. But then they went in, and then Powerline Max came out. So from there, like I went right on to People Mover. So within 5 minutes, Powerline Max was out. So as I was kind of going around, I was able to video him on the stage from the People Mover. Yeah, and then someone actually asked on Instagram if Powerline Max came out on Main Street for the parade, and I'm actually not sure because I wasn't in that area. But I saw him roaming, so he was in Adventureland. I did catch him in Liberty Square, so he seemed to be all over the park.
I'll leave if you're listening to this.
Yeah, I don't think he does anymore.
He doesn't.
So,
and if you aren't hearing this, it's because I cut it out because we're wrong. Because I think that's kind of one of the switches because Stitch too had like a traditional more meet and greet, right? Last year. And this is just more like a party, he's like an interaction now. Like you can go up to him and like dance a little, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. You can dance at the stage with him.
That's kind of how the Kids Cool Summer.
Joe
fun.
Was there.
Yeah, which I do think, I understand like people want pictures and things, but for a really popular character like that, it just makes more sense to do something where you can get a lot of people interacting and taking pictures. Like even I still got videos and pictures of Story with Stitch. It just wasn't like a traditional meet and greet where you're posed.
Right. Yeah. They're doing that a lot this summer because we just saw that today actually at Hollywood.
I think they're going to be doing that more and more, like, because that's how Bluey and Bingo are too. Like, it's not like they just want more people to be able to experience something all at once, which I understand pros and cons. But yeah, this was wonderful. I'm going to have everything linked in the episode description for the episode that we did together for Halfway to Halloween. If you're more of a beginner or a newbie that has no idea what we're talking about, you should go back and listen to that episode. We also have our collaboration together on a laid back Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party guide, which is also linked in the episode description. And of course, all of Melissa's links as well. So thank you so much for coming back.
Thank you so much for having me. It was always fun to chat. And of course, I love talking spooky seasons. Happy to.
Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of the Laid Back Magic Way podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode and it was helpful for you, it would mean the world to me if you'd write a quick review. Your reviews help more moms like you find the show, and I read every single one of them. Seriously, thank you in advance. You can find me on Instagram at Somewhere Worthwhile, and I'd love to hear from you there. DM me if you have any questions about this episode or what you'd like to see in future ones. Until then, keep planning for your next favorite memory, and I'll see you next time.